Evening, everyone.
Kavod Arav, how are you?
Baruch Hashem, thank you.
Kavod Arav, I think we have pending Bet Yosef and Shulchan Aruch, Hey Vav.
Okay, so we'll start with the tour. It says, "B'chol ma she'shoteh b'toch ha'seuda, די לו בברכה אחת." We said, whatever he drinks in the seuda, one blessing is enough. ואני מילא בסתם, אבל אם כשבירך לא היה דעתו לשתות, yeah, so this one we already did. This tour we did for sure. So I guess we'll try the Shulchan Aruch, the Beit Yosef here. פרק הרבה פסחים, sources over there, ק"ג עמוד ב', הממור ומור זוטרא ורב אשר הבו יתווה בסעודתה. So these rabbis were sitting at the Seudah, וכאה עליו רב אחא, and there was this rabbi who was serving them, הממור בריך על כל kasa v'kasa, right? So הממור, this rabbi, he blessed on each cup. מור זוטרא בריך על kasa kama. But this rabbi only blessed on the first cup. Ve'akasa de birkata, and also the blessing birkat hamazon. Rav Asher barich hakasa kama. Rav Asher blessed on the first cup. Ve'tu la barich, he didn't bless anymore. Amemar amar ana nimlach ana. Umor zutra amar ana de abdai ketalmidei de Rav. So Amemar says, I'm nimlach. What does that mean, nimlach? Changing my mind. Ana and Mozutra, he said that I'm doing like the Talmidim of Rab. The Rabrona v'Rav Hananel Talmidei the Rab Havu. These rabbis were the Talmidim of Rab. Yatve v'Seuda, they were sitting at the Seuda. Haba ka'e alayu Rab Yeva. And this rabbi was serving them. Saba. Amru le hab v'nivrich. So they told him, let's bless. And in the end, Amru lehav v'nishte. They said, let's drink. Amar lehu achi amar Rav. So he tells them, this is what Rav said. Kivan de amritu hav v'nivrich. Once you said that we should bless, itzar lechu lemishte. You're not allowed to drink anymore. That's it. Perush mishum teka akre datayu. So he says that they're changing their mind because they changed their mind. Mishtia from drinking. Rav Ashi Amar letil chata ketalmidei Rav. Rav Ashi says the halacha is done like the Talmidim Rav. So that's the whole story brought down the Gemara there. Bekatu Rif Arosh says the Rif and the Rosh. Bekaimalan kemor zutra. They said we paskin like mor zutra. Talmidei Rav and the Talmidim of Rav. Ubenimlach. And when you change your mind, Kaimalan Kamemor, then we hold like Kamemor. De barich le echad kasa. When he blesses on one cup, adata de la mishte ela lehu kasa. He intends to drink only that cup and not more. Bilachud vehadar imlach lemishte, and then he changes his mind and wants to drink again. Kasa acharina, a different cup. Tzarich lebaruche. He has to bless. Borei Priya Giffen. He has to bless. This blessing. V'hadar shate, and then drinks v'siyem ba harosh. And the Rosh concludes, "Ava bracha achrona la bae." Says, but when it comes to the final blessing, it doesn't require that. De'esechadat la matzich bracha ela lehaba, because he says diverting your attention doesn't require a blessing. Only requires it for the future. Okay. Well, Perek Kitzat Mevarchin, in this Perek in Brachot Mem Aleph Amud Bet, Gabi Hadi Amar Rapa B'Dvarim Habayim Mechamat Seuda, regarding that which what Papa said, that things that come with the Seuda, B'toch HaSeuda, in the Seuda, Katab de Yain Shebetoch HaMazon Ta'un Bracha. So he said that the wine within the meal requires a blessing, lefanav, beforehand, but not afterwards. Like it's brought down in Arab Psachim, be'uvda the Talmidei Derav, with the story of Talmidim Rav, the Chad Minayu Barich Akasa Kama, that one of them blessed on the first cup, the Akasa de Birkata, and also the blessing of Birkat Hamazon, Umfaresh Tama Miperek Kisui Adam, so explains the reason over there in this perek, Chulin Kalpeva and Wet, Mishum de Birkat Hamazon Have Hapsaka, because Birkat Hamazon is interruption. Alma de Lo Berech Leachar Hayayin, so you see from there that he didn't bless after the wine, Shebetoch HaSeuda. Because if he would have blessed afterwards, then why would I need the reason that there's an interruption? The Birkat Hamazon, Tipo Kle, you should learn it because of Mishum de Berach Alayain Shata. You already blessed on the blind wine that he drank. Ad Kanesh, that's the end of it. Okay, that's the end of it. So that was the Rif and the Rosh. That's the Rosh over here. Okay, so anyway, he moves on there. He writes furthermore, Sham Perek Arbe Psachim. In this perek, Masha en mevarchin bracha achrona al hayayin, that which we don't bless, the final blessing on the wine, shebetoch hamazon, which is in the meal, אפילו אם לא נשאר לו כוס לברכת המזון, even though there's no cup left for ברכת המזון, פירש רשב"ם explains, משום דברכת המזון פוטרו. It's because the ברכת המזון absolves it מקל וחומר, השתא מעין שלוש פוטרו. So he says it's all the more so. What does that mean? If the מעין שלוש blessing putters it shalosh mibaya, so then all the more so ברכת המזון will absolve it. והי קל וחומר פריחה הוא לדבריהם הבאים אחר הסעודה שלו. So he says it's possible to refute this קל וחומר. לדברים הבאים אחר הסעודה, because things that come after the סעודה, שלא מחמת הסעודה, but not because of the סעודה, יוכיחו שטעונים, they prove that. Why? שטעונים ברכה לפניהם, because they require blessing beforehand, ולאחריהם also after, אלא היינו תמה משום דהיין בא לשתות האכילה, because the wine is coming to wash down the meal, the eating. ואי אפשר לאכילה בלא שתייה. It's not possible to have eating without drinking. והווה כדברים הבאים בתוך הסעודה. So it's considered like something which comes in the סעודה, in מחמת הסעודה, because of the סעודה, ואף לפניו לא היה טעון ברכה. So even beforehand wouldn't need a blessing, אלא משום דגורם ברכה לעצמו, except that it causes a blessing for itself, meaning it requires a blessing. אבל לאחריו, when it comes afterwards, ודאי נפטר בהי תמה, it would be absolved because of that reason. וכן כתבו התוספות, that's what it says in תוספות, והמורדכי בפרק הרבה פסחים. Also in the Mordechai and this parak, ולפוקי ממחזור ביטרי, and that's coming to exclude from this book, מחזור ביטרי, שהיה מצריך לברך אחריו, that he required to bless afterwards as well. ואין הלכה כמותו, and הלכה is not like him, וגם רש"י לא היה מברך אחריו. And also Rashi did not bless afterwards, וכן נהגו, and they said that's the custom. וזהו שכתב רבנו ודווקא לפני היין. And that's what Rabbeinu wrote, that it's only before the wine שצריך לברך, you need to bless, בתוך הסעודה, in the סעודה, אבל לאחריו, but when it comes to afterwards, אין צריך לברך, you don't have to bless. הרשב"א פרק יצאת ומברכים, and the Rashba גבי דשאלה את בן זמה, that they asked Ben Zoma regarding this, מפני מה אמרו דברים הבאים מחמת הסעודה, why did they say that things that come with the סעודה, they don't need to be blessed, they don't need a blessing, כתב ז"ל לעניין ברכה האחרונה של יין, so he said regarding the last blessing of the wine, היין הבטא בתוך המזון, that comes during the meal, אינו טעון כלל, doesn't require the ברכת המזון פוטרתו. Why is that? Because ברכת המזון will absolve it. כל מה שבא בתוך המזון, whatever comes during the meal, כדרך שהיא פוטרת ברכה האחרונה, just like it absolves the last blessing, של דברים הבאים בתוך הסעודה, regarding things that come in the סעודה, שלא מחמת הסעודה, not because of the סעודה, ואף על פי שהם טעונים ברכה לפניהם, and even though they require a blessing beforehand, בהא נמי דקבתיו, so he says this is also the same as them. ועדיף ביניו, it's even better, משום דאיו נמי מזן זין, because these things also do, they satiate, they nourish. ותוספות הביאו ראיה מתלמידי רב דרב, In Tosfot, they brought a source from Talmidim Rab, Barich Akasa Kama ve'Akasa de Birkata. They blessed on the first cup and also the one after Birkat Hamazon. V'kam mefarshina and ta'ameh. So it says we explained the reason that Barich Akasa de Birkata. They blessed on the Birkat Hamazon. Mishum the Birkat Hamazon havia apsaka, because Birkat Hamazon is a interruption. Temishta uvruche be'adade. Because Birkat Hamazon is interruption, when it comes to drinking, uvruche be'adade lo efshar. So he says you can't really bless for both. Alma lo barich hakased yikudem bracha le'ashacharehem. So he says you see from there that he doesn't bless for the cups that were before the Birkat Hamazon. After them, te'eh barich alayu libsof ma'ishna. Because if you bless afterwards, then why would you have to write the mishum hefsek bracha? Why would you have to answer it because the interruption? Tipok le mishum dechevan de barich alayu. Well, you would have to learn it because since he blesses on them. Basop in the end, Havele Gamar Shtia. So it's considered to be the end of the drinking. Ve'idach Bae Bruche, and the others do require blessing. Umihu Yain Shedachar Amazon, but it says wine which is after the meal. Klomar Sheshatar Leachar Shegamar Melechol Arbe. That means he's drinking at the end after he ate already the main course. Hifsik besicha, and then he spoke there. He interrupted with conversation. Toch sichat samam, and then because he was talking, he also got thirsty. Lishtot the kaimalan besamuch, that we hold close by, the bay bruche betchilato, that you have to bless in the beginning. Lefi divrei Tosfot, it seems according to Tosfot, shehu ta'un bracha leacharav, that requires a blessing afterwards. Ben birkat Amazon poteret oto. Birkat Amazon doesn't absolve it. The end Birkat Shalosh poteret me'en Shalosh, because the blessing of Birkat Amazon doesn't absolve the me'en Shalosh, which is the Alamichya. Velini ed efshar lomar. So it seems to me, it says that it's possible to say the beyain Birkat Gimel poteret me'en Shalosh. That when it comes to wine, the Birkat Hamazon will absolve the Alamichya. Although that regarding dates and figs, lo petara doesn't absolve. But Tama Mishum de Aminan Beresh Pirkin, the reason is because we said in the beginning of our parak, Chamra Sa'id, because wine satiates. Msameach, and also it gives you joy. Nehama Sa'id velo mesameach. But when it comes to bread, it does satiate, but does not give you joy. If so, he says, let's bless on it Birkat Hamazon. Lo kaba inish ilabe, but people don't drink it as a meal. Alma, so we see that if there was something permanent there, I mean, we would do Birkat Hamazon. וכיוון שכן, since that's the case, כיוון שבתוך הסעודה של קבע שותהו, since that in the seuda, which is fixed, he drinks it. Mitoch tehavia keviut, since it's a something fixed, le'achila, for eating. Havia keviut le'ashtia is also fixed for drinking. Kenyan shamu, like they said, gabe aseseba, regarding the reclining, migo de mehania seba lepat, just like the reclining works with the bread, mehania seba lebain also works with the wine. Okay, that's interesting. Yeah. So that's all the words of the Rosh. Okay. let's move on. So, בתוספתא שלנו בפרק ערבי פסחים, תוספתא, it says there, in פסחים, זה כתוב, ואפילו יין דלאחר הסעודה, it's written there that wine, which is after the סעודה, נראה שאין צריך לברך לאחריו. You don't have to bless afterwards. זה לעולם חשוב כמחמת הסעודה. Why? Because it's considered to be part of the meal, or because of the meal. וכתב הראש בפרק הרבה פסחים, and it says in the Rosh that the yain שלפני המזון, that wine that comes before the meal, כיוון שבא לפתוח בני המעיים, since it's coming as an appetizer, to right, to make a person to stimulate the appetite. להמשיך אדם לתאוות אכילה, ברכת המזון פתרתו, so ברכת המזון will absolve it. ואין צריך לברך לאחריו, so you don't have to bless afterwards. אף כשאין לו יין, even if he doesn't have wine בתוך המזון, within the meal. Okay, wow. Okay, so that was all Vav, right? So Hey and Vav, yeah, okay. So we'll see Shulchan Aruch here.
Kavod what was the last piece? Even where it says to stimulate the appetite, Birkat Hamazon absorbs it, even if it's like maybe the last line, please.
Yeah, so yeah, so it says ואין צריך לברך לאחריו, you don't have to bless afterwards. אף כשאין לו יין בתוך המזון. Even if he doesn't have not drinking wine during the meal. Okay, so let's see the
Thank you so much, Kavod.
okay. So let's see the Shulchan Aruch here. So it says here. Yeah, so we read a little bit of this yesterday, but now we'll do the whole thing. So it says, "Kol ma she'shoteh betoch haseuda," whatever he drinks within the meal, די לו בברכה אחת. One blessing is enough. אלא אם כן, כשבירך לא היה דעתו לשתות, unless he didn't have intention to drink more after one cup. אלא אותו כוס ונמלח לשתות האחר, and then he changed his mind to drink more. Okay, that's we read yesterday. Now it says the Ramah here, הגה, וכן מי שבא לסעודה ומושיטין לו הרבה כוסות. Also, somebody who comes for a סעודה, and they bring him a lot of cups, מברך על כל אחד ואחד דהווה נמלח. He has to bless on each one. So why is that? Because he didn't really have intention to drink more. So each one is like a surprise. Oh, okay, well, here comes another one. Right, so that's why he has to drink, he has to bless on all of them. So we're talking about when he's a guest, He wasn't expecting to get so much. Okay, so then he says, "V'ayin le'el siman kuf ayin tet, v'chen mi sheberach ala kos arbe birkat nisuin." Also, he says, if you blessed on the cup, right, for sheva brachot, for the wedding, v'no yodea le'echan yagia kos. He doesn't know where the cup will wind up, right? In other words, we don't know who's going to get the next blessing. Kol echad tzarich levarech. So each one has to bless. The mikre nimlach. Wow. So he says, why? Because each one is called nimlach. Yeah. But the truth is, nowadays we don't do it like that. And not everyone will bless, and it's very interesting. Okay. Uh, let's see what the Mishnah Berurah says about that, because I never saw anybody that does it this way. See. Yeah, okay, so I don't know, he doesn't really say much here. But the interesting thing is that I never really saw anybody who does this, practically speaking. So let me explain to you what this means, right? It means that um, they when they have the wedding, okay, so then they have the meal, the seudah after the wedding. So what happens is that then they do, or yeah, it could be also, yeah, yeah. So anyway, when they have the meal, and then after the meal they do Sheva Brachot, they do seven blessings because of the wedding, because of the chuppah. So uh, what happens is that each person, a new person makes a blessing every time. The seven blessings. So like each blessing is made by somebody else. So therefore, right, it's considered to be like, he's surprised to get that blessing. He didn't know it was coming to him. So therefore, he says, since he wasn't expecting it, therefore, what he should do is also make Bar Giffen. Why? Because he wasn't expecting to fulfill his obligation with the blessing of the person who made the initial blessing. Okay. Never saw anybody who does this, but it does make sense. I see the logic of it, but I mean, I guess you could say that there's a way to deflect this also. So the way to deflect it is to say that you know since everybody knew it was possible that it's going to come to him, uh, so then he was having in mind to have full obligation with the first guy. Yeah, whatever. Huh. That's interesting. Yeah, maybe we should look at it, Yokut Yosef regarding that. What he says about this. Never saw anybody who does this. Let's find out. Okay, first I'll look at the next Shulchan Aruch. So it's involved, right? It says here, "En levarech achar hayayin shebeseuda b'kat hamazon p'tarto." You don't bless, right, on the wine afterwards, after, because the b'kat hamazon will absolve it, so you don't need to. V'chen potet hayayin shelifnei hamazon. It also absolves the wine which came before the meal, right? As we said, cocktails or kiddush, whatever it was. V'afilu haya lo yain b'toch hamazon. Even if he had wine during the meal, same thing. ולעניין יין של הבדלה שלפני המזון. Right, so then, right, what about the issue of Havdalah, which comes before the meal? Right, so the question is, will that blessing that you made on the Havdalah, will Birkat Hamazon that you had after the Havdalah, will that absolve also um, the blessing you made on the wine in the Havdalah? So I'll read this one more time. In the barech al achara yain shebeseuda, you shouldn't bless after the wine that you make in the seuda, that you had in the seuda. The birkat hamazon patarto. Why? Because birkat hamazon will absolve that. V'chen patet yain shelifnei mazon. So also the same thing will be for the wine that came before the meal. As we said, cocktail. V'afilu haya lo yain b'toch hamazon. Even if it was, if you had wine during the meal, ולעניין יין של הבדלה שלפני המזון. And also the wine that came right in the Havdalah that was before the meal. So it seems like it absolves that too, Yeah, it's pretty much what we're saying. Okay, anyway, interesting. So that's Hey and Vav. Yeah, so maybe we'll take a look at the Yokut Yosef to see, what he says about this. Kuf Ein Daled. regarding the issue of the wedding. That's very interesting. So let's take a look there. So the truth is, in this chapter, he doesn't talk about it. It could be it actually talks about it in a different place, where he talks about the issue of weddings in Ibn Ezer. So I'm just going to check over there and see what he says. Says something about this. Right. So here he says that this is what we actually do. He says that first we make the Sheva Brachot, and then we make Ber Pia Geffen in the end. So that means that there's no reason to make it several times for each person, since only it's made in the end. Maybe that's how it solves the problem. So let's go back to the Ramah for a second and see how that fits in.
What was the source of the? This was Yaikut Yosef. No,
Yeah.
thank you.
So yeah, so the truth is, that I think that he's talking here about a little bit something else. He's not talking about the seven Sheva Brachot, which there, we say Bari Priya Geffen only once. He's talking about when just they're passing around this cup, and each one is going to bless on it. So there, since really they don't know who's going to get it next, so therefore he has to bless on it, which makes sense. So I don't think he's talking literally about the Sheva Brachot. He's talking about just, they're passing the cup around to drink, and each one has to bless because of this reason, because he's not expecting to get it. Okay, that's very interesting. So anyway, that's the end of that story. Now we go to Zion. So it says here, right? So as we already mentioned, what he says here is that regarding other drinks during the Seudah, he doesn't have to bless on them, right? They're part of the meal, so they're included in the meal. So it says Bet Yosef regarding that, when there's no wine there, the im yesh sham yain, because if there is wine, hakayim olam the yain poter kol minei mashkin, then we say that the wine absolves all the other drinks. But din zesh katav Rabbeinu, so he says this din that Rabbeinu wrote over here, the Torah, nilmad midgasinan v'perek ketzad mevarchin. It's learned from what it says in Ketzad Mevarchin. It's learned from that Gemara, Mem Aleph Amud Bet in Brachot. Shalu et Ben Zoma. Right? They asked Ben Zoma, וכולי, etc. Ehachi yain nami niftere the pot. And then the Gemara asks there, but if so, the wine should also absolve the bread. Shani yain the gorem bracha that's small. So the wine is different. Why? Because it makes a blessing for itself. Yeah. So the question was, I think that we asked there, let the bread absolve the wine, but it says no, wine is special. It's prominent, so it cannot. And כתב רשב"א, says רשב"א, אחי יין נמי, כלומר דיין נמי מחמת הסעודה הוא. So it says, if so, wine also, what does that mean? That wine is also part of the meal, so it should be absolved from their bed. But the lishot machal hu ba, because it's coming to wash down the food. Shani yain. So the answer is no. The wine is different. So going bracha letzmo because it's prominent. Pirish Rashi explains becoming mekomot hu ba. It's coming in several places. Wine u'barchin alav, and we bless on it. Even though you don't need to drink it. But if he perush there, according to this perush, he says according to this explanation, מים שאדם שותה בתוך הסעודה, wine which a person drinks during the meal, אינם טעונים bracha, doesn't need a blessing. Even they're coming for the meal as well. They're also coming for the meal. They shot a machal because they're coming to wash down the food. As they say, these rabbis their custom was Gedolia Sarfatim and the big rabbis of France. Right? Apparently, they were not blessing there. Some say it means that the wine causes a blessing for itself. כלומר, שתייה היא גורמת ברכה לעצמה. Drinking makes a blessing for itself. לפי שהאכילה ושתייה שני עניינים הם, because he says drinking and eating are two different things. ואי אפשר לשתיהן להיות כאחד, and they cannot be together in one shot. כתב רב"ד, לפי זה הפירוש, so he says רב"ד, according to this פירוש, אפילו שתיית מים נמי באה, even drinking water requires ברכה, blessing, ויש עוד מחמירים לברך עליהם בכל פעם ופעם. There are also those who are stringent to bless on them every time, משום דמסתמא נמלחו, because he is changing his mind all the time to drink something new, בשתייה, with drinking, בכל פעם and every time he drinks it, ואין אדם קובע עצמו על השתייה, because the person doesn't really, doesn't really drink, in a set way. בכל פעם, every time. ואין אדם קובע עצמו על שתייה, וכמו שהוא חייב לברך על היין, so just like he's obligated to drink the bless on the wine, בתוך ימי החול on the weekdays, על כוס, on every cup. על כל כוס וכוס. מקום שאין יין מצוי, in place where there's not a lot of wine found. מי בדברי רש"י ורבנו תם ז"ל, but he says the words of Rashi and Rabbeinu Tam, Yirin Ikar, so he says that's the halacha, he says. Who says this? Rashba. Yeah. Okay, so that's the Rashba. Okay. כאן לשון הרשב"א, the Rashba ends there. בספרות אלו כתבון בתוספות. They're all written in Tosfot. He says these opinions, ורבנו יונה ומרדכי, and these rabbis, ודעתם מסכימת לדעת רש"י. They all agree with רש"י ורבנו תם, שכיוון שהמים בסיבת הפת צריך לשתותם מעין המזון, והפת פותרת אותם וכן דעת הסמג. So all these rabbis agree, right, that you don't need to bless on other drinks besides wine. ושמח, וכתב רבינו יונה, ואפילו היה צמא, even if he was thirsty, he says, מתחילה, from beginning, לא נאמר כיוון שמתחילה, we don't say that since in the beginning, היה צמא, he was thirsty, ולא באו בסיבת הפת, and they're not coming because of the bread, to wash down the bread, whatever, מברך עליו עכשיו, he's blessed on it now, אלא כיוון שלא רצה לשתות מתחילה, but since he didn't want to drink in the beginning, כדי שלא יזיקו לו מים, in order that the water should not harm him, נמצא כי שתיית המים בסיבת הפת. So turns out that the reason of drinking the wine is because of the bread. ואין צריך לברך עליהם, so you don't have to bless on them. The פת פוטרתן, the bread absolves them. והגות מימוניות כתב בפרק ד'. This rabbi says שבצרפת נוהגים כדת ri. So he says in France they do like the ri, but Rabbeinu Tam and Rabbeinu Tam shelo hayu mevarachin al shum mashke beseuda. Yeah, they were not drinking on any. They were not blessing on any drink during the meal. ואחר כך כתבו, and then afterwards they wrote, ומי שמברך על המים, מברך על כל פעם ופעם. Whoever blesses on the water, blesses on each time, the shate, the chashiv nimlach, because it's considered like you're changing his mind every time. ובהג כתב, דלא יברך אלא זימנה קמייתא. But Bahag says, you only bless the first time, וכן עמד דבר, and that's what people do. כי הלכות גדולות, like הלכות גדולות. והגור כתב בשם אור זרוע, this rabbi says, העולם נהגו לברך על כל משקים הבאים בתוך הסעודה. So he says the custom is to bless on all the drinks that come in the סעודה, ונראה שצריך לברך על כל פעם, and also every time all as well. ופעם בנוהג כדברי העירי, and the one who does like the Rabbeinu Tam, Beino mevarech al shum mashke, he doesn't bless on any drinks, b'toch ha'seuda, ki'im al hayayin, except wine. The Vodo lo ibsid. It says he didn't lose, V'noheg betov. So he admits, right, that it's a good custom, to do like not to bless at all. V'shivul eleket katab dat ri. So this rabbi writes in the opinion of the ri. V'achar kach katab shenimtza b'ilchot gadolot, halachot gadolot. It's written in the halachot gadolot. Ma deshate maya. Whoever drinks water, or shicha, or some kind of liquor, beseudato, in his meal, mevarech zimna kamaita. He blesses the first time. Ve'ela kedivya nag bahag nir'eh lo. He says the conclusion is that he holds like the bahag. Ikar v'shechin pasak. Rabbeinu Ishaya, also this rabbi. Okay, good. Okay, so I guess we'll stop there, Bezrat Hashem. We'll continue next time. Thanks for coming. Be blessed with wealth and health and happiness. Laila Tov, Chazak Baruch. We'll see you tomorrow, Bezrat Hashem. Thanks for your help and God bless.
Thank you so much, Kavod Harav.
All the best.
Thank you.